my name's Alex Tyson and I'm the founder and CEO at FoundSpace. In this video, we're going to be talking about EMFs and understanding EMFs in our day-to-day life and also, importantly, in sauna. So first thing with EMFs, what is an EMF? It's an electromagnetic field, or sometimes we'll hear ELF, which is an extremely low frequency electric field. It can become a little bit confusing. People are now also considering and talking about Wi-Fi as an EMF, even though it's not measured as an EMF, it's measured as a radio frequency. Bluetooth is considered an EMF, although that's also a radio frequency. So it's all kind of under this umbrella of EMFs, right? Radio frequencies or electric frequencies, magnetic frequencies that we can't see, but can have an impact on the body. Now, EMFs in our day and age are quite literally everywhere. We'll pop some photos on the screen about we walked outside under some normal power lines to see the levels that were out there. We've used a laptop at sitting distance. We've looked at phones, we've looked at headphones. These kind of day-to-day items that we're all used to all emit levels of EMF. Now, question is, what's the safe range of EMF and ELFs that we can become exposed to? Well, first of all, EMFs are typically measured in Gauss or milligauss, and ELFs are measured in volts per meter. Radio frequencies are measured in something else. They're a little bit harder to measure. And so, depending on who you ask, really, it comes down to what a safe exposure limit is. The important thing to know with all forms of EMFs is that it's related to how long, so the duration of the exposure and the extent, like how high was the exposure, right? It's the duration that is really causing issues that we see on a cellular level, which I'll talk about shortly. When we're in an electric field for a very long time, say every time we go to sleep, because there's an EMF in our bedroom where we sleep, that's when issues can happen on a cellular level and we can start noticing symptoms. And so what are some of those symptoms? Well, symptoms can be dizziness, can be brain fog, can be forms of fatigue, or even chronic fatigue can be something coming from EMFs. And it can be worse. There's cases of people growing tumors in their heads from excessive use, these kind of things. So it can become detrimental very far down the track. Now, that is when we're in a chronic exposure to EMF. So like I said, if where you sleep for 8 to 10 hours a day, you're getting an electric field from a power point near there, that's not good. We want to avoid that, right? So let's look at limits. Now, if you look at a company that say, we had our saunas tested with Vitatech, they're a global EMF testing house. They would recommend anything less than 12.5 milligauss is safe. If you ask the World Health Organization, they would say anything less than 5,000 milligauss. There's some people online who would say that any electric field's exposure is bad, right? Now, that's also perhaps a bit extreme in the sense of you kind of can't avoid it now unless you live on a ranch in the middle of nowhere. And even then, there's electric fields out there now. There wasn't 100 years ago. So completely avoiding EMF may not be perhaps achievable. So what we want to do is just avoid those long exposures of EMF. So avoid exposures and test where you sleep, test where you work, like where your desk is or where you sit, test your car. And if there's things in there which are causing electric fields, then you can work to mitigate them. And we have a great link on our blog on our website where you can learn a lot more about how to mitigate EMFs. So let's now fast forward with all that context. Let's now fast forward to our saunas. Our saunas all vary slightly in the amount of EMF that they emit. We'll put some photos up here of the Nyssa. We'll put some photos up of the Nyssa. We'll put some photos up of the barrel. Right, so you can see they're all slightly different. And remember, what makes a difference is how close you are to the thing that's emitting the EMF. So If we measured our Nyssa, for example, we had independently verified by Vitatech, on average it's less than 1.8 milligauss across the entire heater. That's as hard up to the heater as you can get. So further away from that, it's much less. In fact, there's none. So it depends where you measure in the sauna, and when you're looking at other sauna companies, ask them where they measure from, because if they measure in the middle of the cabin, it's not a true measurement, because you're actually sitting much closer to the heaters and vice versa. So that's the EMF in our saunas, and a bit of context around EMF in our life, because as many of us biohackers and real health enthusiasts know, we want to avoid EMFs. However, it's not really possible to completely avoid EMFs in the world we live in, and the time this video was filmed in 2024. So there's things we can do to mitigate it. We've talked about the EMF in our found space saunas, and I hope this video has been helpful for you. Thank you.